I'm here again with Gary Fraley, founder and owner of Fraley & Fraley Law Firm. For today's video, I want to talk about a pleasant subject, which is life after bankruptcy. I want to talk about how people get on with life after the 3 or 4 months of a Chapter 7 or after the 5 years, potentially, of a Chapter 13. So I guess my first question for you is, what do people experience when their case is over? They've gotten their discharge, they're debt-free. What's life like for them at that point?
It's a whole different world and a much more comfortable world. At that point, basically, you've gotten your life back. The creditors are gone, except for in a Chapter 7, say if you got a mortgage payment or a car or something like that that you want to keep. But they're gone. They can no longer harass you, they can't pick up the phone, they can't threaten you, they can't sue you, they can't do anything. The restraining order, which is the discharge order, says that's all over and done with, and you get your life back.
Now, we all know the creditors love to play by the rules, so I'm sure this never comes up, but has it ever come up for you that a creditor has tried to collect a debt even after a bankruptcy? And if that happens, what do people do about it?
Well, this is something that happens on occasion. The first thing I tell people is, if it's a automated letter, give it a couple, 3 months, because those typically stop once they get it into their system. If it's phone calls, that's a whole different ballgame. If you get a phone call and the creditor is harassing you, or it's a creditor period, whether they're harassing or not, call us, write down the information, who it is, who they represent, what their number is, tell them about the bankruptcy, give them the case number, and you're going to have the documentation to give them the case number. And if they continue to contact you, you pick up the phone, call us, we're going to fix the problem.
And I know many people say, well, it's easier to just pay them than to pay another attorney fee to have these issues ironed out even after the fact. What are the typical costs of this kind of corrective action?
Normally, there is no cost. The contracts that we do basically say we're done once the person has that discharge order and they're free of the bankruptcy system. However, in 33 years of doing this, if somebody is being harassed by a creditor and we know about it, we're going to contact them and do everything possible to put a stop to it. If they don't put a stop to it, then we have to consider filing what's called a contempt action to force them to stop. I haven't had to do a contempt action in years. Most of these creditors, as soon as they know there's a real filing, it's really been done, they're toast, they're going to leave you alone. If they don't, let us handle it.
Now, aside from these clients who have these little residual issues with creditors, do you still keep in touch with your former clients? I would imagine over 33 years you've probably got a sizable number of them.
Oh, absolutely. I have people, unfortunately, some people that we did bankruptcies 15, 20 years ago that got back on their feet, and boom, this depression messed them up, and they're back in hiring me again. I don't like to see that because I want my clients to be successful, but with the economy and somebody has a job loss, it happens. I have literally shelves full of gifts from clients that they gave me an appreciation for what I've done for them. And again, while it isn't something that we have to do, I tell people, if you ever have a question about your bankruptcy, pick up the phone, call us, and we're going to answer those questions so that you can get on with your life and not be worrying about things.
So from your perspective, the legal relationship ending at the end of the case doesn't mean that a client's relationship with your law firm is over?
No, I have people on Facebook that are friending me because of their experience with us. And my clients really, the vast majority of them, become a lot more than clients. They become friends.
One thing that I'm sure a lot of people are concerned about when they look into filing bankruptcy is the impact that this filing is going to have on their credit and their ability to get credit in the future. What steps do people need to take after a bankruptcy to rebuild?
Well, first thing, let's go back to the impact on credit. Usually, if you're in a situation where you have this big stack of bills that you can't pay. Your credit basically is toast at this point anyway. And the question isn't whether you file bankruptcy, you're looking at what makes the most sense to accomplish rebuilding your credit. Often bankruptcy is actually an advantage and a benefit. I've actually seen credit ratings go up after a bankruptcy. The reason for that is that once you've done, say, a straight Chapter 7 bankruptcy, you can be 8 years before you can use that tool again. Once you shoot the silver bullet, it's gone. Though you can do a reorganization afterwards. But once the creditors know that they've got 8 years, they look at this and say, well, wait a minute, we got this huge market. There's 1.6 million households filed bankruptcy last year. It's going to be higher than that this year. And they're looking and saying, hey, we want a piece of this action. And you start getting credit card offers and such. You will rebuild your credit in 3 to 5 years back to A1. Now, bankruptcy Chapter 7 is on the history for 10 years. But the further away it is, the less relevant it is.
So you're saying that all of these credit card offers you get right after bankruptcy, you're saying these creditors have ulterior motives?
Yeah, money. They like to make money. And what you want to do is don't take the first one that comes along. Be picky. Watch for things that make sense. If you take on a credit card, first of all, keep the amount that you owe on it very low in terms of a percentage, maybe 10 to 20%. Don't buy and pay it off every month because that doesn't give you a track record, footprints in the sand, if you will. What you want is a record of being able to timely pay your bills, whether that's a car payment, whatever. I also recommend that if somebody has a card or wants credit, first of all, have the cash to buy that item, and then go in, leave at least half of it at home. Then go in and say, look, I want to buy this item on credit because I want to rebuild my credit and I need that stove or whatever. And if they will give you credit, tell them right up front, I filed bankruptcy. If they'll give you credit, then go ahead and use it. But you want to be, whatever the payment is, add a little bit to that. Pay it off 2 or 3 months ahead. That's going to help you rebuild your credit. If they say, no, we're not going to give you credit, say, well, how about if I put half of the money up front and finance the rest? A lot of times that no becomes a yes.
So it sounds like bankruptcy isn't really an end of itself. It's really just the first step on getting yourself back into a strong financial position.
Yeah.
What you're saying.
What they call it is a fresh start. So that you can start over. You've got control of your life, you've got control of your finances, creditors are no longer on your back, you can take a deep breath and know that the world is not a bad place. On the contrary, it just became a much better place for you.
All right, well, thank you again for your time. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next video.
Thank you.